everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Meatpacking Unpacked. My name's Joel Ehrenkranz, the Executive Director of the Meatpacking District, and welcome to the Whitney Museum and this year's Biennial, Even Better Than the Real Thing. We're gonna have a conversation with the co-curators, take a tour of the galleries, and find out just how a show about American art today comes together. So grab your tickets at thewhitney.org and come for a tour. Excited and pleased to be here with Meg Onli, a curator at large here at the Whitney Museum. What was it like to curate the Biennial?
It's unreal. It's totally unreal. You know, a Biennial, something at this scale, is something I've actually never done before. You're doing hundreds of studio visits. And so for us, we're traveling not only around the nation, we're also traveling around the world. And you know, the hope of the Biennial is that you come back and you display some of those ideas and those conversations.
Absolutely, and this is the show to drive conversation in a sense. And this Biennial is distinct in that there's a fair number of folks who are not necessarily from or of America.
The Whitney is always having conversations around what is America, what is American, and really this concept of the real is coming out of, let's say, three things. One is the ways in which AI is changing our understanding of truth, reality, and history. We also are having the overturning of Roe v. Wade, really question the ideas of who has autonomy within this country. And then we're also seeing, you know, legislation that is limiting gender-affirming care for many people within the United States. And so returning back to the show and understanding that many of the artists are queer, are of color, are trans, and are women, it really got back to this point that within the history of America, a lot of people have not been considered real throughout time. And so really thinking back and kind of stepping back saying, who has not been in this show before? Who is so deserving of being in this show that also, I can't say, you know, have been overlooked by everyone, but have been maybe overlooked within the Whitney Biennial.
Let's just talk about AI for a bit.
Yeah, of
and
course.
How that did or did not inform this show, how you as a curator approach that.
For us, thinking about AI, there's different type of digital tools that are showing up. You know, Chrissie and I found lots of artists through Instagram. You know, we're looking on Instagram, we're DMing each other about artists we're seeing. I think there's also all of these subtle ways in which AI is changing our understanding.
And we've been talking about how you have to come back to this show more than once to really get to it.
I'm a person who really loves just being in the museum to sit with one artwork. And so I would also suggest coming on our Free Fridays. You know, if you want to come in, see some artwork, have a fun time. And so really take advantage for the fact that the museum is open and accessible for people.
Super excited to be here with Chrissie Iles, the Anne and Joel Ehrenkranz Curator here at the Whitney Museum. Chrissie, thanks for joining us. Even Better Than the Real Thing, that is a theme. How did you get there?
It's not so much a theme as a title that is meant as a kind of playful provocation to people to think about what's real and what's not. It's also interesting to think about the fact that on a certain level, America itself is a fiction. And so we wanted just to think about these issues of what's real and what's not, also in relation to the body and people who might not have at one point been considered real in America, the Black community, now the trans body, what does that mean? I think there are so many questions that we wanted to think about that the title helps us open up. This show is very much about a set of relations. How do we live together after the pandemic and in a very fractious moment? How do we come together as a community, whether it's a New York City community, the art community, the global community, you know, what does that mean when we come back into the world?
How does this show play a part in what is trending in the art world in America today and around the world today, frankly?
What we're interested in is this mixture of making a show in 11 months, being able to synthesize a lot of information, a lot of material quickly, but then making something meaningful. What makes a curator is that we're operating in a very practical way. We're thinking about those spaces and thinking about those relationships.
How does one approach this show if they're not a real art person?
Any exhibition, and especially the Biennial, is here for everyone. We made it for artists, our peers, everyone in the art world, visitors who've never been to the museum before, teenagers, kids, tourists. It operates on so many levels.
Thank you again for joining us for another episode of Meatpacking Unpacked to hear from the co-curators of the Whitney Museum's Biennial, Even Better Than the Real Thing. Get your tickets before August 11th and we will see you around the neighborhood. Thanks, everybody.